This marker that sits in front of the Tallahatchie River on the Ashwood Bridge is of Bobby Gentry, born Roberta Lee Streeter in Chickasha County in 1944, and spending her childhood here. Bobby Gentry brought the accents, sounds, and images of Delta life into sources of haunting songs she wrote and records she made to become one of the most influential country and pop artists of the 1960s and 70s. With her phenomenal #1 hit, Ode to Billy Joe, and complex, innovative albums such as the Delta Suite, she brought the sultry musical flavors of Mississippi country to the world. Shout out to Bobby Gentry. Let's go. Good afternoon, good people. This is P9. I'm here with another video, and I am in Greenwood, Mississippi. Greenwood, Mississippi is a city located in LaFleur County, and it is located on the Yazoo River, as you can see right here. It's also the county seat of LaFleur County, located at the eastern edge of the Mississippi Delta. So we're approximately 100 miles north of Jackson, Mississippi. And the population of Greenwood is a little over 15,000. So with that in mind, I'm gonna start this video in similar fashion to how I started my Selma, Alabama vlog. I'm gonna walk across the bridge over the river. So just like I did in Selma with the Pettis Bridge, I'm gonna do with this bridge right here, which was engineered by H.C. Dietzer and built by Riley Bailey Construction Company of St. Louis, Missouri. So I believe this bridge was built in 1925. So it's a slew of engineers, as you can see right here. Richard Stanford, Clarence Simmons, F.A. Davis, J.H. Hoskins, H.C. Dietzer, and these are the state highway commissioners and the LaFleur County supervisors, presided by S.R. Kiesler. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take this stroll into downtown Greenwood, Mississippi. Now, Greenwood developed at the confluence of the Tallahatchie and Yallabusha rivers. Both of those rivers together form the Yazoo River, which is what you see right here. And instead of concrete as the walking structure, you have wooden planks, as you can see right here. So it's a really nice sunny day, really nice sunny spring day here in Mississippi. So initially, Greenwood was a trading post on the Yazoo River when it was founded in 1834 by Colonel John Dillard. And at that time, it was known as Dillard's Landing. And there was another town that was further upriver called Point LaFleur. So later on, this settlement was incorporated as Greenwood in 1844, named after Chief Greenwood LaFleur. And this is my first video here in Greenwood, Mississippi, in my string of videos. I'm gonna do a series of videos in the Mississippi Delta. So here's another marker right here. Dedication Keesler Bridge, so restoration. So this bridge was restored in 2003 as a joint effort by the city of Greenwood and LaFleur County. Project engineer Jack T. Willis, consulting engineer in Montgomery Dotson and Maloof Construction. So these people chipped in with the restoration of this bridge, which is called the Keesler Bridge. I didn't know what it was earlier. But yes, back to what I was saying about the Mississippi Delta. Now, the Mississippi Delta is not to be confused with the Mississippi River Delta. Now, why I say that is because these towns and cities that are located in the Mississippi Delta region are not located along the Mississippi River necessarily. They're located further inland on what's called an alluvial. So that's why you have those type of features. So when you go to a lot of these cities and towns that are located in the Mississippi Delta region, they're not going to be located alongside the Mississippi River. They have a Mississippi River Delta that has a string of cities like that go through, say, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana, located along the Mississippi River. So that's the Mississippi River Delta. But this right here is a marker for Greenwood, which is founded by John Williams as Williams Landing, chartered as Greenwood in 1844, and since 1977 has been the world's largest long staple cotton market. So this marker sits right outside of the LaFleur County Courthouse, which we'll get a better look at in just a second. But the name of the street that I'm on right now is called Fulton Street. One of the main thoroughfares in downtown Greenwood. Now check this out. Where I'm at right now, it's called Point LaFleur. It's a marker for Point LaFleur. Northeast 2 miles at the junction of Tallahatchie and Yellowbusha Rivers is the site of the extinct town founded in 1830s by Greenwood LaFleur. Achieved great prosperity in era before Civil War, which was similar to a lot of towns, especially in the South. They were antebellum towns, which was before Civil War, that prospered, especially, these cities and towns that were like in the agricultural regions of the country. But check this out right over here. This is like a historical monument right here. One of those sons and daughters of revolution sculptures right here. But yes, this is the side of LaFleur County Courthouse. As you can see right there. Very historical landmark right here. And it sits right across the street from the LaFleur County Juvenile Detention Center. So we about to get like right into the core of downtown Greenwood. They have a little newspaper stand right here. The Greenwood Commonwealth. You can get your papers for $1.50. Your Sunday paper is $1.50, but your daily papers are $1. Yes, inflation is something else. $1.50 for a Sunday paper. Well, check out some of these historical buildings right here, historical brick buildings, some of which are storefronts. Then you have this right here. That building right there has a merchant called Smith & Company, merchant clothier. I'm now at the corner of Washington Street and Fulton Street. Oh, that's nice right there. Different colors. Art Place, Mississippi. Okay. Displaying a little artistry. Now in this building right here housed what's called the WGRM radio station. Now before the 1950s, relatively few African American voices were heard on the radio in the South. A major exception was live broadcasts of performances by gospel groups. During the 1940s, this building housed station WGRM, which presented gospel music on Sundays. One of the most popular groups was the famous St. John's Gospel Singers of Inverness, Mississippi, which included Riley King on guitar. King later became known as BB while working in Memphis. Okay, so BB King was originally a guitarist in a gospel group. That is dope. Had no idea. But yeah, check out these images right here. There goes one of the original Shure Model 55 microphones used by radio station WGRM. Here's one of the records that they played called I Ain't Drunk by Lonnie the Cat. those I swear those songs back in the day, they were really good, man. Really good blues music, but they had some interesting titles. And this is an image of the famous St. John's Gospel Singers. Ben Carvin in the front and John Matthews in the back row. And right here, you see right here, the top right is Riley King, AKA BB King. That's him holding the guitar right there. And you have, again, Burkett Davis at the left. You in the middle right here, you have, who was that? You have Ben Carvin right here. You have John Matthews right here, and you have O.L. Matthews right there in the middle. Okay. And here's a picture of the building back in 1901 when it was constructed. It was reopened in 2004 after complete restoration. So by the mid-1950s, WGRM had moved to North Greenwood, and this building was occupied by WABG radio. In rural areas, radio stations often doubled as recording studios, and the Greenwood-based band of pianist Bobby Hines recorded in such a setting, according to his guitarist Brewer Phillips. So it's just, you know, a lot of history as it pertains to this. You know, radio broadcasting didn't take off in the United States until the 1920s, but for the next several decades, the voices of African Americans were largely excluded. Notable exceptions were the character Rochester, played by Eddie Anderson on the Jack Benny Show, which ran from 1932 to 1955, and harmonica player DeFord Bailey, one of the first stars of the country music program Grand Ole Opry, which began a broadcast in 1927 over Nashville's WSM. So yeah, and you also had Riley King, who later adopted the nickname BB, who performed lead guitar with the Inverness-based gospel quartet, the famous St. John's Gospel Singer, as mentioned before. So the Golden Gate Quartet was also featured in the CBS network show. So yes, this is just some history for the Mississippi Blues Trail. Here's a radio log of the WGRM that basically gave you a rundown of the programming. Miss Hattie, Darts for Dough, different time slots. Okay. So that's interesting history right here in the Mississippi Delta. Again, known for its blues. And that was also highlighted very prominently in my Clarksdale video, the blues history. I did a Clarksdale video a little less than a year ago. So if you guys are interested, go check it out. I'll include a link in the description box. But yeah, really, really, really interesting history here, you know. Trustmark Bank is a branch here, you know. It's a chain of banks that are very prominent here in Mississippi. I've seen plenty of Trustmarks. Just about every Mississippi city or town that I go, there's a Trustmark bank branch, like a big branch like that one. So shout out to them. Guarantee Bank. Nice building right here. Wilson Banking Company back in the day. I'll check out that mural right there of that seabird. Oh, that's dope. The Yazoo Riverfront right here. Over here on Front Street. And we're in the district now called the Cotton Row Historic District. And again, it sits right alongside the Yazoo River. And you can see across from the river, it looks to be some type of construction going on. So it looks like they're probably going to be adding on to the riverfront, you know, probably doing some redevelopment on the riverfront, you know, jazzing it up some more. That'll be really dope, especially a city as historic as Greenwood. check out these buildings. That building right there, let me see if I can get a little bit closer to it. That's an interesting sculpture, by the way, right here. I don't know if that's like a bird cage or something. But yeah, this building right here, it looks to be a hotel, or it used to be in its heyday a hotel. Let me get a little bit closer to kind of get some idea of what it is or what it was. Because you can see it has those wrought iron balconies. Okay, this used to be the Greenwood Opera House on Front Street as part of the Cotton Row District, listed in the National Register of Historical Places in 1980, May of 1980. National Park Service, U.S. Department of Interior. Okay. So it was an opera house back in the day. I see. Okay. And here's a marker for the Greenwood Cotton Row District. This district comprises state's most important concentration of buildings associated with marketing of cotton and with the state's post-Civil War cotton boom, listed in the National Register of Historic Places. Okay. So again, this is Mississippi. Cotton, the cotton industry was a huge thing, especially during the post-Civil War cotton boom. And check this out. This little mural right here says drink Coca-Cola. You can see right here. Delicious and refreshing. 5 cents. This was back in the day when Coca-Colas were 5 cents. Now I don't really drink Coca-Colas like that, but you know, a 5 cent Coke does sound pretty enticing nowadays with you know, record inflation. I'm just saying. Walking down Ramcat Alley. So this is where a lot of the entertainment and arts took place in Greenwood back in its heyday, back in the early 1900s, or I say around the early to mid 1900s, somewhere around there. So I'm pretty sure there was like a string of like nightclubs and what you call juke joints back then. This was the place to be. You know, you come out, enjoy some blues music, you know, cut a rug, like they used to say back in the day. And you see right here is a Cotton Row Club. Very historic building right here. Historic venue. This building right here is called the Durden Building. It even has the Ford logo on it, as you can see. Still on Ramcat Alley. Yeah, so this is the place. Yeah, this is where they have all the entertainment venues, the clubs, juke joints, a few restaurants, I would imagine. And check out this art. Check out the butterflies. The spot called Fan and Johnny's. Looks like it might be a pretty good restaurant. Pretty chill environment, you know. Walking down Waltall Street now. Okay, got a couple law firms over here. Couple law firms here in downtown Greenwood. They even have an auto parts store across the street. Federated Auto Parts. Local spot. How you doing, man? All right. Welcome to historic downtown Greenwood, Mississippi. This is really nice. Really nice mural, established 1844. And here's the hashtags where you can share the photos. Hashtag Travel Greenwood and the hashtag That's So Delta. Okay. But yeah, the historic downtown Greenwood, Mississippi mural. Really nice. Really nice. So I guess I take it that this is the city hall. Oh wow. This building was built in 1904 and placed on the National Register of Historical Places 1980. Okay. Not a lot of people out right now though. But it's still a beautiful day nevertheless. I'm at the corner of West Market and Main Street. Sometimes I have to take into consideration, I have to remember that this is the weekday. I'm pretty sure if this was the weekend, it would probably be more people out and about. It's a really nice day to be out, to be honest. This? Oh, this used to be a department store. It was called Klein and Blumenthal back in the day. Klein and Blumenthal department store. Okay. Where are my native Mississippi Delta? Where my native Mississippians? Y'all chime in the comment section. Let me know if you see anything familiar and gives you nostalgia, memories, you know. I know a lot of things change, but some things do remain the same, you know. And one thing, it's a lot of alleys here in Greenwood. And check this out. I don't know what this is. Anytime I see these unoccupied buildings, It may be occupied. It just looks so old that sometimes I just assume a lot of these buildings that look old like this are unoccupied, but it might not be. I'm in the commercial and Central Commercial and Railroad Historic District on Washington Street. It's over here across from the First Presbyterian Church. Okay, no, never mind. I stand corrected. This is an occupied building. It's occupied by the Carl Center. So I wonder when this building was built. It had to be in the early 1900s or late 1800s. About to bust this left on Howard Street. About to walk down over here where there's a bunch of jewelers and mom and pop stores, antique shops. Okay, this is the historic Alluvian Hotel right there across the street. I was wondering when I was going to come across that. Yeah, they have a historic hotel still in operation. This is the upscale hotel right here in the Delta. So I'm at the corner of West Church Street and what's that? It's Howard Street. West Church and Howard. Here's another view of the Alluvian. Now those rooms got to be running about 200 a pop a night, 200 plus. It looks really nice from the outside. I'm pretty sure on the inside it looks really upscale and whatnot. And across the street over there is actually a building called the Lorraine Building. Waiting across this street right here. And this church right here is called the Church of the Nativity. It's an Episcopal church, historical church built in 1880. And he playing a lot of music on these speakers on the street. And this is the administration building for the Greenwood public school system. Now guys, I think this is the city hall. I think the building we saw earlier that I labeled the city hall, I believe that might have been the old city hall. This looks like the current city hall right here. Has to be. Huh. Across the street over there is a Greyhound station, or it used to be a Greyhound station. It has the Greyhound lines on it. Okay, that's the fire department for Greenwood Fire Department. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Police investigation annex. Okay. And that's the police department across the street, the municipal court. So we're in the, we're in the government buildings district basically. And looks like this building right here used to house the WKXG 1540 AM radio station here in Greenwood, your original one of a kind gospel station. So, again, this is Greenwood, a historical black city in the Mississippi Delta. So, those gospel stations are going to be, it's going to be a lot of gospel. It's a Bible belt. So it looks like a lot of the city workers and the city jobs are right in this area. As we just passed by the city hall and fire department, things like that. Here's a hair salon right here. Let me go down this way real quick. a bunch of abandoned shops across the street. Another thing I forgot to mention earlier, guys, is that Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta region, is one of the most, if not the most, economically depressed, poor region of the country. You know, unfortunately, I mean, Mississippi as a whole is one of the poorest states in the country, if not the poorest. But you know, one thing about Mississippi is that the spirit of a lot of these people, despite the economic struggles that many people in the state suffer, they still have a strong, resilient spirit to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good at the end of the day. You just have to keep your head above water the best way you can, you know, given the circumstances, you know. There used to be a trading post right there called Jerry's Trading Post. Perry's Pawn Shop and Furniture. Yeah, a lot of these buildings are abandoned, of course. There's some more across the street too. But check this out. This is really nice, the artwork along this trail. It's a bunch of musical notes emanating from a guitar, saxophone. Yeah. It's really nice, really nice. Wow, it's pretty cool. How y'all doing? All right. Johnson Street. Okay. So they have this marker right here. Johnson Street. It was like a carnival on Saturday nights. So basically this area right here where I'm at right now is Johnson Street. It has a lot of historical value because, you know, this used to be an area where a lot of, you know, people who, you know, a lot of the entertainment and everything like that, just like the alley we saw earlier. And yeah, it's like a theater. You know, it's a railroad track right here, which we're going to get to in a minute. It's where the CNG tracks with the Illinois Central meet. And, you know, they had clubs back then. They had the drugstore right over here. You know, yeah. Household shops. This place used to be, you know, pretty booming, you know, back then, you know. You had the bars, the Dixie Theater. So a lot of these abandoned buildings were occupied by a lot of these venues and these establishments, you know. But the Dixie Theater was one of the biggest places right here, you know. Really interesting. Very interesting. And check this out. This is a marker of Furry Lewis. Furry Lewis is a Greenwood native. Walter Furry Lewis was a favorite figure on the Mississippi blues revival scene of the 60s and 70s decades after he made his historic first recordings in the 1920s. Lewis, who had worked as a street sweeper for the city of Memphis in the interim, made numerous new recordings and also appeared on television shows and in motion pictures. His family lived on Lamar Street before moving to Memphis when Lewis was a youngster. So this is actually the first time I've heard of Furry Lewis. You know, there's a lot of blues musicians from way back in the day, very historical. But this is the first time I've ever heard of Furry Lewis. He was one of the first blues guitarists from Mississippi or Memphis to enter a recording studio when he traveled to Chicago to record 6 songs for the Vocal Lion label on April 20th, 1927. Lewis lived in Memphis almost all of his life, but he was born in Greenwood, residing with his mother and other relatives in the house of grandparents on Lamar Street, though other documents cite birth dates on March 6, 1893 and 1895. You know, him and his childhood friends, he was named Furry by his childhood friends and became an active musician in his teens, playing mostly by himself, but sometimes teaming with other musicians. And he often told stories of playing with W.C. Handy, and the first good guitar he owned was a gift from Handy. And he lost his leg while trying to hop a freight train in Illinois and traveled with a medicine show, played on the streets and at parties and picnics and saloons. So yeah, Furry Lewis was very, very, very big on the blues circuit. Here's a few images. He was one of the many noted blues guitarists from LaFleur County. Others, either natives or at one-time residents who made their recordings here, included Reuben Lacey, Tommy McLennan, Robert Petway, Honey Boy Edwards, Robert Johnson, Richard Hacksaw Harney, Elmore James, James Scott Jr., L.C. Green, Eddie Guitar Slim Jones, Hubert Sumlin, Hound Dog Taylor, Brewer Phillips, Luther Guitar Jr. Johnson, David D., Dion Payton, and Fenton Robertson. And you know, in 2012, Furry Lewis was elected to the Blues Hall of Fame, and this occurred 31 years after he passed away in 1981. So he was posthumously elected to the Blues Hall of Fame in 2012. And he actually had a pretty good amount of appearances on live TV. You know, he appeared on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. That's, you know, so he got a lot of exposure outside of blues music as well. So that's really pretty dope. And that's him right here. Images of him. This 1918 photo looks north on Lamar Street from this site of the marker. And there he goes right here as well. Everybody's Blues, its first released by a brand new star. Furry Lewis in July 1927 issue of the Chicago Defender. His Falling Down Blues was promoted along with Big Chief Blues in this Defender ad from June 30th, 1928. So there you go. He was in an ad. He was in a few ads back then. So he was very highly promoted. So I definitely have to brush up on my history with Furry Lewis, listen to some recordings. It's a first time for everything. So these photos, by the way, they're courtesy of Steve Levere. I wanted to give the photographer credit. So photo is by Steve Levere, and this photo right here is by the Danny Whitehead collection. This is basically the image of 1918 Lamar Street, and here's a couple of his album covers too. Furry Lewis, back on my, what does that say? Back on My Feet Again. And there goes another album cover with Furry Lewis. And Good Morning Judge Lewis and Furry Lewis, 4th and Bill. Of course, that's in Memphis. And here's some lyrics by Furry Lewis. If you follow me, baby, I'll turn your money green. I'll show you more money than Rockefeller ever seen. Lord, the woman I hate, I see her every day. But the woman I love, she's so far away. I've been down so long, it seemed like up to me. Woman I love, she done quit me, poor me, yeah. I will turn your money green by Furry Lewis. And it's a common theme back then too, you know, like, you know, those blues musicians, they would make a lot of songs about, aside from their day-to-day lives, they'll make songs about, you know, a woman, you know, like Ray Charles, you know, he was good. He did a song like that, talking about I Got a Woman. But yeah, Furry Lewis, shout out to him. And this is called Rail Spike Park, by the way. Rail Spike Park. So just it highlights more and more blues history. And once I get the chance to get up to Chicago, Illinois, I'm gonna try to do a vlog in the blues, like one of those blues districts out there, because Chicago is really known for its blues trail. So that will be a good historical video to do in the future. Just putting that out there. But I'm over here now by the Amtrak station with Greenwood. So this is where the Illinois Central Railroad once ran. But it is now, this building, this Union Depot, is now occupied. Occupied and by the Amtrak, as you can see right here. And let me see if I can get a shot of those railroad tracks. And Greenwood, Mississippi might be one of those what you call whistle stops on the Amtrak station. And what that means is that it's probably one of those stops that it's one of those stops that doesn't get any type of it doesn't really stop at this particular station unless either somebody's deboarding the train at Greenwood or somebody's boarding the train at Greenwood. But like I mentioned before, man, I gotta do a Amtrak vlog one of these days. It's gonna happen one day. It says right over here, right by Bo's Barbecue and Grill. So I bet you, you know, if anybody, whoever does pass through Greenwood, it doesn't seem like a lot of people would probably pass through Greenwood, Mississippi via the Amtrak. But if they did, and they, you know, depending on how long their layover is, they might have an opportunity to, you know, cross the street and go get some barbecue, take back with them on the train. But that pretty much covers the commercial and railroad district of Greenwood. This marker, part of the Mississippi Writers Trail, is of Indicia Ida Mae Holland. Holland was born August 29th, 1944 in Greenwood. Named Ida Mae after her mother, she later gave herself the name Indicia, a Swahili word meaning to steer. an ideal description for the driven social activist, educator, and prize-winning playwright. Despite an abusive childhood and dealings in prostitution, Holland joined the civil rights movement in the 1960s, volunteered for SNCC. Her efforts in helping black people register to vote landed her in jail multiple times. She graduated from the University of Minnesota with a degree in African American Studies and later received her MA and PhD there. Dr. Holland's second Dr. Lady, a play about her mother, became the source of material for her autobiographical play From the Mississippi Delta and her memoir of the same title. In it, she wrote, "If South is a perspective as well as a direction, then the Mississippi Delta may well be the most southern place on earth." She died January 25th, 2006 in California. Shout out to Ida Mae Holland. Continuing my trail in downtown Greenwood before I proceed to Monee, Mississippi. I'm over here in front of the Infinity Tree by Stephen McIntyre II. This is a really dope tree right here. Again, it's called the Infinity Tree. It looked like it's sculpted out of stainless steel, but it's really nice. It's really nice. Shout out to Stephen McIntyre for the Infinity Tree. Had to come get some of these, had to get a couple of these sculptures. And this sculpture right here is of Emmett Till, one of the civil rights heroes and legends, unfortunately taken from us too soon at the age of 14 back in 1955. But this is a statue of him, and it's a memorial statue. Is the only standalone statue in the world that pays homage to the slain Chicago teenager. His murder inspired the civil rights movement in the United States. In 1955, 14-year-old Emmett Till left Chicago for a summer visit with his relatives in Monee, Mississippi. And we're going to expound more on that later on in the video about him just being kidnapped and killed. But this particular sculpture right here is really nice. It's the Mississippi Legislature, the LaFleur County Board of Supervisors, and the Greenwood City Council recognized the great sacrifice that inspired the civil rights movement in America. We will always remember the lives of Emmett Till, his mother Mamie Till Mobley, and the entire Till Mobley family. So RIP to Emmett Till. And we have a section at the end of this video dedicated to Emmett Till. So stay tuned. Doing my last little stroll downtown Greenwood over here on Howard Street. Yeah, not much open, not much going on, not much activity, but a few mom and pop stores on this side of Howard Street as well. So this brings me back to the Episcopal Church of the Nativity. So that will conclude the downtown Greenwood video, but stay tuned for the ending for the Emmett Till Memorial. Well, I'm gonna conclude this vlog on a rather sad and tragic note. I am here on the site of the Bryant's Grocery, and this is where 14-year-old Emmett Till came to buy candy back in August of 1955. A white shopkeeper by the name of Carolyn Bryant accused the black youth of flirting with her, and shortly thereafter, Till was abducted by Bryant's husband and his half-brother. Till's tortured body was later found in the Tallahatchie River. The two men were tried and acquitted, but later sold their murder confession to Look magazine. That's a shame, man. And Till's death received international attention and is widely credited with sparking the American Civil Rights Movement. And guys, this happened back in 1955. It has been now 70 years since that occurred. That's really, really just crazy how long ago that was. You know, we're talking 7 decades ago. But this is a memorial for Emmett Till right over here. And it has, you know, you see the flower bed and everything like that. And here's some, you know, photo collage of Emmett Till. Again, this is the store right here, Bryant's Grocery and Meat Market. This is how it looked in the mid-1950s. And they, you know, Roy and Carolyn Bryant lived with their 2 children in the space above the store. But here's the Jet magazine, 1955 edition. And it actually featured a story of Emmett Till and the murder. And it shocked, and it was basically a shocker because, you know, there were pictures of, you know, Emmett Till's battered body in his casket. And, you know, and this basically rallied people to support and, you know, both black and, you know, white sympathizers to support the cause for civil rights in Mississippi. And so it's basically started a whole wave. And, you know, here's a picture of Emmett Till when he was a child riding his bike. You know, Emmett Till was originally from Chicago, of course. He came to visit his uncle and aunt in Mississippi. And, you know, this is the all right jewelry right here in the Tallahatchie County Courthouse in Sumner, Mississippi. And there goes Till's great uncle Mose Wright and mother Mamie Till during the trial in Sumner, Mississippi. And it's a courtroom artist who captured, you know, the tense moments when Mose Wright had confronted, you know, J.W. Milam during the kidnapping, to not know anything there when asked on the stand to identify Milam. And Wright pointed at him and said, "There he is." Yeah. Crazy times back then, I'm telling you. And here's a quote from Mamie Till, Emmett Till's mother. "The murder of my son has shown me that what happens to any of us anywhere in the world had better be the business of us all." And then again, you know, there you go. You see the great uncle and Mamie Till right there. And by the way, there goes Sidney Poitier in the front of that, in the Jet cover magazine. This is 1955. Sidney Poitier, and I believe that's Milda Sims, actor and actress right there. But this is just a background, you know. Again, you know, Emmett Till in August 1955 visited with his cousin Wheeler Parker. They arrived in where I'm at right now in Money, Mississippi, from Chicago for a visit with relatives, including their great uncle Moses Mose Wright. 3 days later, on August 24th, Till and his cousins came to the site, which was Bryant's Grocery and Meat Market, to purchase candy. Till had turned 14 only the month before and had been warned not to test the South's Jim Crow code. But as he and his cousins were leaving the store, Till was reported to have whistled at Carolyn Bryant, the young white wife of the store owner. She recounted in court testimony that Till also grabbed her around the waist, something she much later admit was not true. See how she lied? See how she lied and had this young brother lined up to get killed? That's, you know, that's unforgivable right there. That's unforgivable, absolutely. But in the early morning hours of August 28th, Carolyn's husband, Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J.W. Milam, kidnapped Till from the great-uncle's home and 3 miles southeast of the store. According to an FBI transcript, the kidnappers brought Till back to the store to have him identified before driving him to a barn near Drew in Sunflower County, where he was badly beaten and shot. His murderers secured a gin fan to his neck with barbed wire and dropped his body in the Tallahatchie River near Glendora. And I do apologize for the graphic details, but this is what happened, you know. And Brian and Milam were soon arrested on kidnapping charges 3 days after his abduction. Till's body was pulled from the river. And again, of course, these men were not, you know, convicted. They were acquitted by all white jury, which was common during the Jim Crow era for if a white man or woman or white male or white mob or whatever kills a black man or woman. Mamie Till, Emmett's mother, insisted that her son's body be returned to Chicago for an open casket funeral, an event that garnered national media exposure. Milam and Bryant were indicted on September 6th by a grand jury for the kidnapping and murder, and the trial began on September 19th in Sumner. On the stand, Mose Wright identified Milam and Bryant as the kidnappers, and Mamie Till testified that the body was that of her son. On September 23rd, a jury of 12 white men voted to acquit both defendants after deliberating only 67 minutes. Wow. They would have reached that verdict in less time, according to one jury member, if they had not stopped to drink sodas. Wow. Yeah, so they didn't even take long to deliberate. That's how you know it was a bogus acquittal. In 1956, Look magazine published an interview with Milam and Bryant in which both confessed to the murder of Emmett Till. The two could not be retried, however, due to constitutional law regarding double jeopardy. So yes, when you're acquitted of a crime once, you can't be retried for that same crime due to the double jeopardy law. News of the murder and the trial outraged black and sympathetic white Americans, and the case became a catalyst for the American civil rights movement. In an interview for Eyes on the Prize, America's Civil Rights Years, Myrlie Evans, widow of NAACP Field Secretary Medgar Evers, stated, Emmett Till case shook the foundations of Mississippi, both black and white. It said even a child was not safe from racism and bigotry and death. I recall so well Medgar crying when he found out that this happened to Emmett Till. Yeah, this will pull on anybody's heartstring, anybody who has who has a heart, that is, anybody who's, you know, like has a heart, like, because this is a child. And it's crazy. Even after all these years, it's still like, it's ridiculous how that turned out, you know, and the individuals responsible didn't get punished. But this is the site right here. This is actually the store right over here. And it looks like, I don't know. This may not be the store. I'm not sure. It looks like it might be. It has to be. It has to be. Matter of fact, let me take that back, because you see the gas pumps right here. And I think the side of it right here is like a garage, you know, so it was like a convenience store / gas station / like service station for, you know, getting your oil changed or whatever, getting your vehicle service. So yeah, this definitely has to be it. This definitely has to be it. And, you know, this is now the remains of it. But, you know, they kept the building for historical purposes. So, yeah, this is, you know, very, very sad story regarding Emmett Till. Now, I have seen a few documentaries about Emmett Till, like on PBS and, you know, some on YouTube. But I haven't yet to see the movie. You know, the movie called Till, which was released in 2022. You know, seeing a reenactment of it, I think would be, you have to really emotionally prepare yourself for something like that. You know, some movies like that, especially when they recount tragic historical tales, or not tales, but historical events, then, you know, you have to really get yourself up to watch something like that. And the movie Till was released in 2022. It was a biographical drama film directed by Shinonye Chukwu and written by Michael Riley, Keith Beauchamp, and produced by Beauchamp, Riley, and Whoopi Goldberg. And it's, of course, based on the true story of Emmett Till, or Mamie Till, an educator and activist who pursued justice after the murder of a 14-year-old son, Emmett, in August 1955. So Danielle Deadweiler played Mamie, and Jalen Hall played Emmett. So this was, you know, again, a biographical film. Whole bunch of other, you know, supporting actors and actresses took part in this project. So I may, you know, I may get up the gumption and the emotional fortitude to watch it, but yeah, it's tough. But with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and conclude this Greenwood, Mississippi vlog. I wanted to come here and end it on this particular site. And for those who made it this far, thanks for watching, and make sure you hit that like button. And also those that are new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell. That way you get notified each and every time I drop a new vlog. That in mind, good people, take care and have a great day.